Welcome to the Freedom in 5 Minutes podcast, the podcast where we make 5-minute decisions that can change your business, your relationships, and your life. Hey, this is Dean Soto, founder of Prosulum.com, Prosulum.com, and freedomin5minutes.com. And we're here again with another Freedom in 5 Minutes episode. Today's topic is this: keep crushing those stones. That and more coming up. Oh, that was a horrible introduction. I messed up. Oh, I'm sure you caught that. If you're a first-time listener, I'm sorry. You can go listen to something else. Oh, man. All right, so if you listened to yesterday's podcast, or the last podcast, I should say, because I'm not sure when I'm going to actually put this out. The last podcast, I was talking about how I talked about a story that we were building some paths around our house, and that included some stairs. These are like dirt stairs that you would find at while you're hiking, right? If you've ever been on a hike, sometimes you'll see these dirt paths, and when there's a steep hill, sometimes like in national parks, there are these stairs that are either made with packed in dirt with a piece of wood that's kind of keeping that packed in dirt in there, or there might be something like rock or something like that that's keeping it packed in there. And so these workers, they made these types of stairs on some of these paths that we had. Really, really, really cool. And the long and the short is, the boss came out when he was done. He came out to inspect what they were doing, and he said, I love it. This looks great. But just to warn you, I think that you should use some of this granite, this decomposing granite that you have on your land, and either with that granite or go and buy some crushed rock and put it on these stairs, put it on these paths, some of the paths that were steeper than others, so that when the rain came, all the stuff that we just did isn't going to get washed out. And in the last podcast, it was interesting because I had this podcast right now, and what I'm going to share with you right now is actually what I wanted to share as what was the big important thing. Now, keep in mind, this podcast is going to be super short. I'm on my way out with the family. We're going to go on a special date with our eldest daughter and do some of her goals that she wants to set. So, all that being said, this is what I wanted to. So if you've been listening to this for a while, usually I tell a story and then kind of give the what's so important about this, right? Well, in the last, after telling the story about the boss who said, "Hey, you need to go and you have to go and get this crushed rock, or else it's going to wash away." Right then, during the podcast, a whole different revelation came during the podcast that took this particular kind of why away, which was still really, really cool. Go listen to the last podcast and you'll see what it was. It's an awesome takeaway, and it's totally true, and something that it's one of the reasons why I even have Prosulum.com with the systems and process virtual assistant. I'm not gonna spoil it for you if you haven't listened to the last podcast. But so this crushed rock, when you put it on the dirt, it disperses the water, and it also strengthens the dirt. It kind of provides this foundation so that you're not going to have these big, huge runoffs. If you don't know what a runoff is, or a washout, it basically takes the dirt out, and you get a big gaping hole from where something is. I have a couple washouts on my land where there used to be dirt, and now there's just a big crevasse. So this crushed rock that you use, it provides a way to minimize that. It's almost like putting asphalt grindings onto a road, and then or even putting slurry on a road. It's much better than dirt, right? Because after a while, the water is going to make that dirt road all crazy. If you've ever been on a dirt road, they don't last too long in when it rains, unless you have something like that asphalt or slurry. All right, so all of that backstory gets to the important why. Why is this important? Well, here was the original, what was going to happen, and all of a sudden I got sideswiped by another revelation. The big why is this important? The secondary why, or the primary why, whichever you prefer it to be, is that all these little rocks, all these little crushed rocks are like the trials that you go through. They are the trials that you go through in life. Okay, these little things that strengthen the soil that is beneath you. And a lot of the times we want to avoid these. This is why people have such a big problem with 5-minute decisions. This is why some of my clients with the systems and process virtual assistants who could literally 5 minutes a day completely let go of their entire business, avoid doing the 5-minute videos that systemize their processes and offload their tasks. Because they see it as a pain. They see these decisions, they see these things that kind of hurt. They might be collisions, they might be whatever there, but it's the decision to move into this uncomfortable situation, the decision to avoid what is actually making us better. These little tiny decisions provide a foundation, provide a thing that disperses the real pain that would happen when the rain comes. And the rain is always going to come. You might have a good spring and a good summer, but guess what? Fall and winter, the rain is coming. The rain and maybe even the snow is coming. And if you are not ready, you are going to have some major washouts. Well, these little toils, these little decisions to do the uncomfortable, or the little learning experiences that we avoid, even in ways, you have two decisions, right? When you have something happen that you really didn't want to happen, you can say, "Oh, this is horrible. I hate it. This is not what I wanted," and just fight it, or go, "Hey, there's a learning experience with this. I'll just figure out I'll figure out what it is." And then you actually learn from it. Well, all of those little decisions, all of those little things that happen provide this foundation that when a new rain comes, you don't get washed away. You don't get washed out. Your family doesn't get washed out. Okay? So, I was talking with my wife yesterday on our date night. Every week we do a date night. And I was telling her, wow, all of these decisions, all of these things that have happened that looked like they were horrible situations or bad situations or uncomfortable situations led to where I am at now. And I would not have it any other way. It is amazing. In fact, I made a decision today that threw me for a loop. I put $2,000 down on something called Warrior Week, where in March, $2,000 down, and at least at this particular point in time, it's $10,000 total to go. Put $2,000 down, knowing that over the next 30 or so days, I have to prepare mentally and emotionally for this thing. And then it's 4 days of very rigorous physical and emotional and spiritual pain and, I would say, joy. I'm not quite sure what to expect. Hello, my love. How are you? Taking a Dollar General?
I promised Emily we'd go.
I'm almost done.
Okay.
Say hi.
Hi.
So that alone was a decision that that could have only been made with the small pebbles, the small rocks that I had broken in the past, because all of those little things led up to this. And it threw me for a loop because I know it's going to be another thing that changes me, not because I'm scared or because it's bad financially or anything like that. It's not at all. It's that it threw me for an emotional loop because I know that I would not have been ready if I hadn't done all this other stuff ahead of time. And that it's going to lead to such amazing expansion in the near future that it's almost, it's definitely scary, but it's also exciting and kind of mysterious. So anyway, all that being said, don't ignore these crushed rocks. Crush those rocks because they're going to be the foundation for what you are going to be in the next few years. Very, very important. Okay? All right, so this is Dean Soto, Freedom in 5 Minutes. I'm going to take off. We are going on this date with our daughter, and we will catch you in the next Freedom in 5 Minutes episode.